The deadline for the historic Naniloa Volcano Resort to find a buyer has passed, and no word on a new owner. Today, the hotel faces the state and the county in U.S. bankruptcy court as the court-appointed trustee seeks to take control of the troubled lease.
And we have a cash flow emergency that we just simply cannot address at this time. When I was appointed, the hope was that within a short period of time, that any bashful brides at the back room would come forward and lay out their offers. That did not happen. It just did not happen. And hence the reason that did ask and are asking for an extension.
Hawaii Outdoor Tours, the company of Ken Fujiyama, fell behind in its payments, and renovations have stalled on the Banyan Drive Resort. As foreclosure proceedings began, Fujiyama declared bankruptcy, which legally tied the hands of the state in terms of canceling the lease. Hawaii County Mayor Billy Kanoy has been vocal about his opinion on the current management of the resort, and he testified at a recent land board hearing.
When Naniloa was recently cited for safety violations of their kitchen, this is what they did to replace the kitchen. I spoke at a state convention there a month ago. I cannot even describe to you the embarrassment. To be able to welcome people to beautiful Hawaii Island, and if you look in the back, this is a spectacular area, you guys. I run through this area at least 2-3 times a week during my lunch break or early in the morning. Every day I run past, think to myself, how this one happen? That's one kitchen of a volcano resort? Who would take their family eat over there? $300 a night? State conventions come, who coming back? People come from Japan, they're never coming back Hilo again. People now stay on the other side of the island, drive over, visit volcano, go back. Drive over, take a helicopter tour, go back. Drive over, visit the beautiful botanical gardens, and go back. Well, everybody suffers. Why? Why everybody suffer? Look at this, every condition, the LNI employees, this is our report. How the oversight for the last 7 years allowed this to happen. Where was the insurance of compliance? That's one entire tower, you guys. Look at that for 7 years. Showcase piece of property managed by the state of Hawaii, the board. How? How that? Every day. This is commercial street frontage right here. You know. This is where everybody comes. This is where our families play. How can you say anything but shameful, disgraceful, deplorable? And if you go from the ocean, you stand up paddleboarding, worse.
The Naniloa has been at the center of a controversy as to the overall management of Banyan Drive. Mayor Kanoy contends that the Department of Land and Natural Resources has done a poor job and has even lobbied the legislature to have the county take over the resort area.
And to have a state agency year after year mismanage an incredible asset to the detriment of small businesses throughout the island of Hawaii is inexcusable. You go to Banyan Drive, which is basically holding East Hawaii's economy hostage. But the state has mismanaged that property for the last 7 years with one of the vendors, and now we have hog wire, in the middle with graffiti, a drink pool, broken elevators.
Most agree that there is a problem with the cost of the lease. In 2005, Fujiyama outbid a field of interested operators with a $500,000 lease payment.
This lease was appraised at $150,000. The LNR, in trying to get the highest lease rent per year on board, when let an operator who's lost a volcano resort, and nothing against him, it's not personal, lost 90 Mile, and managed that property, as you see, into the ground. Standing right there was Outrigger, standing right there was Starwood's Resort, each of them with $30 million to invest, upgrade the property, long-term lease. You know how much jobs we'd have today? Absent this hotel operating properly, our employees drive 4 hours for jobs in South Kohala, where 83% are resort development, but the people who work there cannot afford to live there. So they live Hilo, they live Puna. That place is supposed to be thriving. But we allowed this $5 million over 5-year investment. Really? And the current lessee stood there and just outbid all qualified hotel resort property managers. He just bid it up, 300, 400, 500. These guys looked at each other, Outrigger, Star Woods, and said, we cannot pay that kind of lease rent and make one viable resort, hotel, hospitality business run properly. So they all walked away. One guy got them. And the oversight has been poor. It's not one finger pointing, it's not an excuse, not one blame, it's some fact.
The state seems to have learned its lesson on the lease, changing how it handles extensions for the other properties on Banyan Drive.
So this year, I pushed for extension for the remaining hotel resort areas on Banyan Drive, and that measure passed. But it has to have substantial improvements. So people say, what is substantial improvements and who's going to determine that? And that's the Board of Land and Natural Resources will have to determine that. They have to do appraisals. And my understanding is it should be 50% of the appraised value. So if it's appraised at $20 million, then $10 million improvements for an extension.
You know, Hilo Hawaiian right next door putting $17 million in, but they always full. I don't even connections for get my friends in over there. You guys call me up, hey Billy, hook me up with a hotel. No can. Back, full.
If there's no buyer and the court denies the trustee, then First Citizens Bank, which is owed nearly $11 million on the mortgage, may be forced to bid on the property itself.
And there's a separate mortgagee protection provision if the lease is rejected and terminated. At that point, the bank has the right to request a new lease. And I think that's what's been alluded to.
Because their job is to protect all creditors. And the LNR at $500,000 a year lease is part of that creditor. That lease remains at $500,000. You still, let's go back to what I said. Your first decision wrong, every decision after that wrong. Trying to maintain that $500,000 a year lease is based on someone who used that very same provision to take an asset away from very qualified bidders and run this asset into the ground.
Which Billy was legal at the time.
No. And so what I'm saying is the termination of the lease takes it out of bankruptcy, takes away the $500,000 because you're terminating the lease for non-compliance. You're turning in the lease for failure to pay. That's my sense.
So we agree. That's your interpretation.
That's my position. That's mine. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to the smarter guys who specialize in this.
We received advice from those guys. So.
Yeah, but you know,
according to
I get some smart guys too, you know. You know, attorneys, you can sit them down. Black can be black. You question them some more, come white. I talk to them some more, move back to gray. So, Bill, what I'm saying is they all get positions, Bill. You know, it's not one slam dunk.
No.
That's their interpretation. There's other interpretations too.
And we're here today, and we're going to make a decision.
Right now, and so, mahalo. You guys,